All right, I'm back. So my time with Peace Corps. So basically, my last year of college, that September, I applied, immediately got an interview, and had a lengthy security and medical background check. And soon after that, I was off to Peru. So I arrived in Peru. We arrived in Lima, and in Lima, we spent 3 months, and in those 3 months is where we actually had language training. Because even though I was pretty comfortable in speaking Spanish at that time, there were a lot of people that knew very little or no Spanish at all. So we got there, we got assigned host families, and we were assigned teams and groups. And for 3 months, we were in language training and we were in technical training. So the way the Peace Corps is set up is they have different groups. So you'll have when I say groups, they have different fields of work. Where I worked in community development, you had others who worked in business development, water and water treatment. You have environmental. You have um, education. You have many other fields of work. So me specifically, I worked in community development, and my group was broken up in between community development and business development, small business development, and we basically split our time during that first 3 months in Peru, in Lima, between language training, learning the culture, do's and don'ts, and also our technical training. And after 3 months, we were assigned where our field sites were going to be located and where we're going to be assigned. So the best way I can think of is like the military, where you go through basic training. And that time in Lima was our basic training, learning the basics to so we can be able to effectively do our job in the field. And then you get orders to be assigned to Alaska, Germany, something of that sort. And I was assigned to a town in Lambayeque, which is the north coast of Peru. It's mostly desert. Um, basically much of Lambayeque is covered in sugarcane fields, which is I lived in a town or amongst the many towns in the area where there was nothing but sugarcane fields for miles and miles and miles, and you can see it. It's just that was it, where you would spend, um, much of your time getting eaten up by mosquitoes, and whenever they were getting ready to harvest the sugar cane, they were burning, and very often you would have sugarcane ash in the air, and it reminds me of being out in California where they have those forest fires in California that are very frequent, and you'll have ash, you know, being blown in by the wind. But so what my first thoughts of being in Peru when we first landed and were driving, we were driving in or riding, I should say. Give me 1 second. All right, there we go. All right. So when the plane first landed and we were riding in a bus in Lima, it was probably around 11 to 12 o'clock at night, and I'm thinking, wow, this place is poor. Now I've been to many poor places in the world, and it's a different feeling when you know that you're going to be living someplace very different, and that's where you'll be living. But I was excited for the new experience. I was excited to do some good work and learn a lot of new things and develop professionally. So the first 3 months there in Peru for the Peace Corps was very good. You learn a lot. It definitely prepares you to be effective out in the field, and it definitely prepared me being just. I mean, not even maybe I was 22 and 1 week old when I arrived in Peru. So I had no real work experience other than maybe an internship and some part-time work, and just out of college. So very young, dumb, and just curious about the world, but still needed a lot of maturing and development to be able to be most effective. Yet, when I got there, when I got to my site in Lambayeque, it was definitely exciting. It was exciting that I'm finally out of the training, exciting that I'm finally out in the field, and I can go out and meet people, develop relationships, and start doing some great work. And when I first got to my site, I was very excited about the people at my site. I was very excited about because they were excited to see me and get to know me and everything. Because imagine this: imagine put yourself in the shoes of someone living in Lambayeque, Peru, where you have this American, or I should say North American, uh, or this black person who says he's from North America, who's living here in this, I wouldn't say isolated town, but it was, you know, definitely not a well-trafficked town. People, you wouldn't just ride through. And the town was happy to see me and very curious about me. This young, because I mean I was young, so this young, maybe you could say kid who's here, and he's going to teach us or train us or develop, projects in our community. What is this? So I think they were really curious about me, but that curiosity wore it off real quick. I mean, once when you're there, you say, "Hey, let's get together. We're going to do this, and let's get together. We're going to do that, and let's meet here, and do this." Yeah. Sure, let's do that. Let's do that. Yes. So people always, I wouldn't say blowing smoke, but they were definitely friendly and nice. But real quick, I mean, folks they were happy to have me there and everything for the most part, but they got their own lives. So yeah, I may have came on a Tuesday, and they were excited to learn a lot about me on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Maybe even the weekend to spend some time out to hang out and meet new people and all this stuff. But once Monday rolled around, people went back to work. People took care of their families, and I mean, they had a life before me, and they were going to continue that life after I got there. So that experience was definitely it became it got difficult, because then after a while you feel like you're in a town, and it's like, well, I'm here, I'm an outsider. I'm trying to work with folks to work with me, and people don't show up, and they say tomorrow, mañana, pero mañana no viene. Tomorrow never comes, and they're not there, and people were just busy with their own life, and after a while I was like, well, what am I doing here? I can't just do stuff and not have that community connection to be able to sort of develop things for the community if I am not really part of the community. I'm just there and I'm doing stuff. So that's something I struggled with a lot during my first my you can say first couple of months or weeks or however long that lasted. But at some point I just said, hey, you know what? Let me find another strategy. And one of the strategies that I found to really integrate in that community was, hey, how about I just teach English? I teach English. People like learning English. People are very curious about, me as a foreigner, and let me use that as a vessel to teach English, teach a little bit about the country I come from, the culture I come from, and sort of, integrate some of that Peace Corps stuff that they kind of want you to do and let you learn during your training, and sort of use that to work with the community, and that worked. That worked. So I'm grateful that I was able to use that as a vessel, which opened up more doors and more doors and more doors, and creating a lot of projects and a lot of relationships that um, the community was able to benefit from. So I'm definitely grateful for that experience. Um, though I met a lot of great people in Peru, and the experience was great, and I'm talking specifically about Peruvians at this point. And when you come back to the U.S. and then you start working and you got your own life, and then you're communicating a lot with those people that you met over the years, but very quickly after a year, two, three, you know, it's been difficult to maintain those relationships and those connections. And I'd really like to go back at some point to be able to visit that town that I spent so much time in, and some of the people and etc. Um, so yeah, but the strongest relationships that I definitely built during that time was with other Peace Corps volunteers. Because when you're in that first 3 months in Lima for your language and technical training, you're with other volunteers. You meet them and you can learn from one another. And I'm telling you, it's to me the experience was a lot like the military, where you are dropped in a place in basic training, and you have different people from all different walks of life there, who from places that you didn't know exist, with different customs and language. And I mean, it was a lot like that when joining the Peace Corps and being mixed in with all those people you would normally maybe not even talk to or run with, well, if you were in the States. But when you put in this position, you get to learn a lot. Definitely overcame a lot of ignorance that I had at 22. And those folks, we still maintain a relationship with one another till today. I will compare that to sort of like or maybe a fraternity, or I've never been part of a fraternity, but maybe something like that, or folks who have deployed, and they deployed with a small group of people in the military, and they were with each other for a long period of time, and they maintain those relationships after the fact. So so yeah, so I know that was very brief, but and I guess as I progressed with my channel, every once in a while I will throw in a story here and there for the Peace Corps. But I wanted to give a very general um, a very general description of my time in the Peace Corps. And if anyone out there are even interested of joining or wanting to know more about the Peace Corps, I mean, I'm happy to share it, because I tell you this: if you are young, um, just out of college or recently out of college, I would recommend the Peace Corps. Uh, but that's if you don't have any kids. I mean, I met someone who had a child, and her mom, took care of the child while she did her 2 years, But this girl was focused. She was about her career, and she used this as a stepping stone to really get to some really good places in her career. I'd recommend if you recently retired, do Peace Corps. You'll find that to be very rewarding. Um, Anywhere in the middle, I'd recommend it, but it may be difficult if you have a career and if you are not really able to take a sabbatical, or you have a lot of ties back to the U.S. with bills and stuff like that. Outside of student loan, I don't really know a lot of folks who are young, who not even young, who did it, who were not either recently out of college or retired. Yeah, maybe I met like a 40-year-old couple who did it, and I mean it can be done. It's just that that's mostly the people that you'll see there. But I think I've talked enough about briefly about my time in the Peace Corps. If you have any interesting questions or comments, please write them down, ask me, email me, whatever the case. And please like, share, and subscribe.